All right, what we're going to talk about today is automating the extraction of data from forms. So first question is, what do I mean by a form? Well, a good example of a form is an invoice. So here are a couple of my AT&T invoices up here, and you can see there's data on these forms: my name, address, account number, date, due date, amount, all kinds of information here. The problem with this information is what's called semi-structured. It is not in a nice structured format where each one of these data elements is in a data table and is something is easily used, but it's also not completely unstructured because there is a very specific format to these invoices. And you can essentially program or automate the extraction of the data from this form. So why is this important? Well, it's important because people use forms for all kinds of things. Invoices is a great example. Some companies receive hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of invoices. And so they have people manually going through and extracting each of these data elements to enter them into their accounting system. But you may have forms for all kinds of things, for processing sales orders, for receiving information from other companies, all sorts of things. So, and the same approach really works for any and all of these. So the things that you want to think about when you're automating form processing is, one, how consistent is the format? And you can see on these AT&T bills, although the data is different, the format is extremely consistent. If we were trying to automate these and we came across a Comcast invoice, the format would be totally different. We would have to handle this one differently than we do the AT&T ones. So you're looking for how similar is the format, and then you want exception handling in case something comes through that's blurry or a key data element is missing. You want to make sure the automation doesn't process something that's not completely right. So that's really the things that we're looking at. Jim, can you give a quick, I'm going to stop sharing here. Can you give a quick demo of how we handle this?
Sure. So can you see my screen now, Andrew?
Yes, I can. What am I looking at here?
So what we've done here is we've taken those invoices of yours from AT&T. We've trained a model to extract that data off the forms. And
without getting into the details, how hard was it to build that model for those AT&T invoices?
That's really easy. There's essentially it's a process where you just feed the documents into the system. You tell the model what fields you're extracting. So in our case, we're extracting 6 fields. And then you simply tell it where on the document it can expect to see that data. And you've essentially built your model at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And so after that, we build a flow or an automation. And in this case, we're going to manually trigger it. We're going to process and save that information off of the form. And then we've got a conditional thing here to handle the errors or acceptable invoices that you discussed before.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and run this. And it's going to ask for a file, obviously, since we're triggering this manually for the purposes of a demo. And this is the untrained documents. So we've got that document and we have that file name, and we're now going to run it. Now you'll be able to see here the flow is running. This takes a few seconds, somewhere depending upon what all you're extracting. It's going to take less or more time. That took 8 seconds, and it should pop up here any second here to say that it's complete. And it did. Right. And it says it went down the successful path of the conditional statement. It extracted the data, and I've got a view over here that shows the data that we asked for it to extract off the invoice is now here, and you can see 243 just now, and there's the data that it extracted.
Okay, we'll go back to that other tab. Like, what conditions were put in here to determine success or failure on this?
So I can show you those. So the first thing we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that the customer name on the invoice was you.
So that was just in case you got somebody else's AT&T invoice by mistake. So that was just one of the things you're looking for.
That's right. But if it isn't you, we want to just immediately say, well, we're just going to skip this one because that's not for Andrew. Mm-hmm. After that, we've then put in and conditions. So all of these have to be met in order for the successful path to be taken. And it's essentially the 6 fields and the confidence factor that the model says it has, that it's extracted the data for that data element. So for the amount, we're saying the confidence factor has to be greater than or equal to 99%. And then each one of those are set to 99%. So the end result is the invoice is your name, it's to you, and the extraction of the 6 data elements that we said were critical are extracted at a 99% confidence level or higher.
Got it. So the model is not only extracting that data, but for each data point, it lets you know how confident it is in doing that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's do one that doesn't work.
Sure. So it's real simple again. We're going to go ahead and manually trigger this. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and take the Comcast invoice.
Okay. So some invoice kind of wasn't trained at all, got in the folder by mistake, and
that's right.
The bot's just processing it along with other invoices.
That's right. Because this bot, ideally, you've got this bot probably running automatically. It's on a scheduled basis, or it's running 24/7, where it's looking at a particular folder or a particular email account for emails with attachments, and it's just automatically handling things for you.
Okay.
This one is running. This one might take a little bit longer, just simply because it's hitting something that it doesn't understand. To take 15 seconds as opposed to the 8 before. Mm-hmm. And you can see here now, it did not pass those conditional checks. And instead, it sent an email off to me saying, no, sorry, this invoice couldn't be handled.
All right, very cool. Well, in order to keep this video as short as possible, Jim, I think that's a great demo. We'll wrap it up here. If anybody has any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment field below, and we're happy to make another video. Anyway, thanks all. Thanks, Jim.
Sure thing, thanks.